All right, so now we're going to be graphing cube root graphs. So we're going to start with the basics by kind of, doing it with a table, and then we'll kind of work at doing a shortcut. So if we start off with taking the -8 and plugging it in, the cube root of -8 is -2. You can check that in a calculator. The cube root of -1 is -1. The cube root of 0 is 0. The cube root of 1 is 1. And the cube root of 8 is 2. So you'll kind of notice using -8, -1, we get -2 and -1. And on the other side, when we're using +1 and +8, the y values really just switch signs. Now they're just a +1 and a +2. So this graph will look like this. We got 0, 0, -1, -1, -8, -2, and then +1, +1, and then +1, +8, +2. So our cube root function looks like this. Now, since the left side of the graph basically mirrors the right side, but the signs are just opposite, we really just need to figure out 3 points and then mirror the other 2. And you'll kind of see what I mean when we look at our next function. So here we have y equals the cube root of x plus 1 minus 3. So I want to find the key point, the point that's in the middle. So to find my key point, I ask the age-old question: what number plus 1 would equal 0? -1. And then our back number is -3. So I'm going to be at -1, -3. So this is my key point. That's the point in the middle. Now I'm going to choose to find the values on the right side. So I'm going to try to figure out what the cube root of 1 is and what the cube root of 8 is, just like I was doing with the square roots. All right, so I'm asking what number plus 1 would equal 1? That would be 0. So I have the cube root of 1 minus 3. The cube root of 1 is 1, and minus 3, I get -2. So my point is going to be 0, comma, -2. And that point's going to be mirrored on the other side, but instead of being at 0, -1, instead of being up 1 and over 1, it'll be down 1 and over 1. So the other point will be right here. Okay, going to do the same thing now for the cube root of 8. So I'm thinking, what number plus 1 is going to equal 8? 7 would. 7 plus 1 is 8. So now I have the cube root of 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. Then minus 3, this is going to give me -1. So I'm going to have a point at 7, comma, -1. So 7, comma, -1 is right here. And so there should be another point that mirrors it over here. And the way I can figure out what that is without having to do a bunch of algebra, I just count from my green point to my purple point. So I went up 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the right. I'm going to do the same thing to the other green point, but instead of going up, I'm going to go down. Down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so there's its, mirrored point. So now I can go ahead and just connect the points and make my cube root graph. There's asking a few things here. Key point, we already know what the key point is. We wrote it up top. The y-intercept happens to be at 0, -2. Just reviewing some old key features, but just with cube root graphs. So let's take a look at this one. First thing we want to find is the key point. So once again, we just go here and ask the question, what number minus 2 is equal to 0? That would be +2. The back number would be its y value. So our key point is at 2, 1. So it's right here. Once again, we are going to try to create a cube root of 1 and a cube root of 8 to find our other points. So I have a minus cube root, some number minus 2, and plus 1. So I need to figure out some number minus 2 that would equal a 1. And that would be a 3. So 3 take away 3 take away 2 is 1. So the cube root of 1 is 1. We have our minus sign. Plus 1 gives us 0. So our coordinate is 3, 0. So 3, 0 will be right here. So if that point's there, the point on the left side would be on the other side. So if this is down 1, right 1, then there's another point, up 1, left 1. Once again, we should have something on either side of our key point. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and do create a cube root of 8. So we have a minus cube root of 8. So some number minus 2 plus 1. So what number minus 2 would equal an 8? I guess 10 would do it. So we have minus cube root 8. 10 take away 2 is 8 plus 1. The cube root of 8 is 2. Bring down our minus sign. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So we have another point at 10, negative 1. So 10, negative 1 would be right here. And once again, there's another point over here somewhere, so we can have our little shape that we have going on here. So once again, the way I find it, I start this time at the purple point. I'm going to count down 1, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm going to go to the other purple point. Instead of counting down, I'm going to count up. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7 would be right here. So now I can go ahead and connect the points, and I've created a cube root graph. We don't have to worry about the y-intercept in this problem. Okay, so once again, we're going to go ahead and find our key point. So we go to this section here and ask the question, what number plus 3 would equal 0? That would be negative 3. Our back number is 2. So that's going to be our key point. So it would be like this, right? And then once again, we're going to create a cube root, a cube root of 1, and then a cube root of 8. So we have a 2 cube root, some number plus 3. So some number plus 3 equals 1. So I need to think of a number that if I added 3, I would get a 1. So that would be negative 2. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. So I have the cube root of 1. The cube root of 1 is 1. And once again, if you have a number in front, it's times. So 2 times 1 is 2. Then we add the 2 from the back, so that's 4. So our coordinate is negative 2, 4. So negative 2, 4 will be right here, which means there's another point on the left side of the key point. So if this was to the right 1 and then up 2, then the other point would be left 1 and then down 2. They're always diagonal from each other. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, but for the cube root of 8. So 2 cube root, some number plus 3, and then plus 2. So we're asking what number plus 3 would equal an 8? That would be a 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. So we have 2 cube root 8 plus 2. The cube root of 8 is 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. And so we're going to have 5, 6. So 5, 6. Okay, we want to kind of map that same point on the other side. So once again, we're going to do some counting, starting from the green point. 1, 2, we went up 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now I'm going to go down 2 from this purple point right here. So 1, 2, then I'm going to count 7 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to be going off the graph a little bit. No big deal, I'll just put the point right here. And then we're going to connect the points and make our cube root graph. Like so. All right, our next one. Going to start with that key point. All right, and we're going to ask ourselves what number minus 1 would equal 0. That'd be a positive 1. The back number is negative 4, so I'll put negative 4 for the y value of the key point. So we're at 1 and then negative 4. I'll plot that there. Once again, we're going to be trying to create the cube root of 1 and then the cube root of 8. So I have negative 4 cube root some number minus 1 minus 4. So some number minus 1 equals 2. 2 take away 1 is 1, so that's the number I'm looking for. So I have negative 4 cube root 1. 2 take away 1 is 1. The cube root of 1 is 1. Don't forget your minus 4. They're going to get times together. So negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. We minus 4, that's negative 8. So our coordinate is 2 comma negative 8. Remember, the one in red is the x part of the point. So we're going to be at 2 comma negative 8. Okay, and from there, we're going to go ahead and mirror that point. So from the red to the purple, that's down 1, 2, 3, 4, then over 1. So I'm going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then left 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the cube root of 8. So let's do it in blue. So we have negative 4 cube root some number minus 1. So some number minus 1, that's going to equal 8. That would be 9. 9 take away 1 is 8. So now I have the negative 4 cube root. That's the cube root of 8. Cube root of 8 is 2. We have our times negative 4 in front. That's going to give me negative 8 minus 4, which is negative 12. All right, so I'm going to be going off the graph a little bit. So we'll call this, say it's negative 10, negative 11, call this negative 12. No big deal. And so our coordinate is at 9 comma negative 12. So at 9, negative 12. So we're going to be down here. Okay, and now we want to mirror that point on the other side. So if I'm starting here at the purple, I'm going to count to the blue. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going down 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so if I went down 5 and right 7, from the purple point on the left side, I need to go up 5 and left 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so now I can go ahead and connect the dots. So our graph looks something like this. It does ask for positive interval, and I just want to kind of go over positive interval again just to kind of refresh your memory. So positive interval is everything that is above the x-axis. So everything above the x-axis will be considered the positive interval. For this particular graph, that starts from here all the way this way. So we describe intervals in terms of the x values. So since the graph heads to the left forever, the smallest x value is negative infinity. And then it stops right here at 0 before it goes below the x-axis, which is the negative interval. So it's going to stop at 0, but since 0 is on the x-axis, it's a neutral number. So I'll be using a set of parentheses because 0 is not part of the positive or the negative. Since it's on the x-axis, it's a neutral number. All right, our last problem. So once again, we want to find our key point by asking the question, what number plus 4 would equal 0? Negative 4. Our back number is 2, so that'll be the y part. So we're at negative 4, 2, so it'll be right here. And we're going to go ahead and try to create a cube root of 1 and a cube root of 8. So 2 cube root some number plus 4. That would equal 1. So I'm trying to create a 1. Negative 3. Negative 3 plus 1, negative 3 plus 4 is equal to 1. So we have 2 cube root 1. The cube root of 1 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So my coordinate is -3, 4. All right. And remember, if we have this point, we have one diagonal to it. So if from the red line to the blue, I go right 1 and then up 2, 1, 2. That means there's another blue line doing the opposite. So right 1 and then, left 1 and down 2. Should be right here. So nice diagonal from each other. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the cube root of 8. So we got to figure out some number plus 4 that would equal 8. That would be a 4. So 2 cube root 4 plus 4 is 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. Don't forget your 2 in front. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. So that coordinate is going to be 4, 6. 4, 6. Okay, so we need to map that to the other side. So counting from the blue, counting to the right, to the purple. So I'm going to count up 2, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to count down 2, 1, 2, and then 7 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm going to be going off the graph a little bit. So we'll say it's about here, and then we can connect our shape. And we got ourselves our graph. So that's how you graph cube roots.